as directed.
Grasshopper and other pest problems? Here's Chad the lawn doctor with a solution.
Grasshoppers are a problem again this year. It's been mentioned and written about in the news and by experts. Watch for the baby nymphs initially, and then as they develop to adults, they feed on vegetation both on the farms and in your gardens at home. Treatment is best early on, but can be treated at any time. Enjoy your summer nights, barbecues, and parties with our Yard Armor Pest Control Service that controls grasshoppers, mosquitoes, spiders, wasps, and other insects. Give us a call at 435-753-LAWN or find us at LawnDoctorCashValley.com.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Grammer. Wounded Warrior Project supports injured veterans by connecting them with fellow warriors, by serving them through mental health and wellness programs, and by empowering them to live on their own terms. No one should face a battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What a life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Go! Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
Good morning and welcome to the Garden Guide. This is Mark Anderson with Anderson Seed and Garden, and we are here to talk gardens and weather and bugs and plants and all kinds of fun things. So this week I actually went out and picked my first zucchinis and onions, and we had those for the 4th of July, and it was amazing. And also picked some tomatoes on the 4th of July as well too. So that's about the earliest we've ever had tomatoes. So not too bad, not too bad. And a lot of things happening this weekend. We've got the cruise-in going on at the Cache County Fairgrounds, and the parade will be this afternoon. And what time's the parade at, Bill?
I believe it's 6:30. 6:30 to 8:30.
6:30. Ooh, that's a long time.
From Center Street to 1400 North along Main Street.
The parade, 6:30.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
I had a great concert last night.
I see lots of people with their chairs out already.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And who was the concert last night?
The Commodores and the Temptations Review.
That's right. So it was pretty good.
Yeah. Great show.
Awesome. That sounds good. Did you take your fresh vegetables down to share?
I have to admit I did not.
All right. That's okay.
I probably should have.
Things are coming out of the garden, so that's a great time of year to be able to start harvesting things, especially the way the weather has been up and down. So, but we're thinking we might have some phone lines today. Possible.
Yeah, we're going to try it out here. We were able to entertain some calls for the Trading Post yesterday, so we'll see. But
Awesome.
We can probably just get one call at a time. So it's this is our temporary studios.
Might be a little difficult getting in, but it sounds like we do have phone lines open today. So awesome.
You can test them out.
There you go. 752 KVNU. Or is it
I think 753. I don't think the 752 line is coming in. 753 KVNU 753-5868.
Okay, very good. We'll see if that happens. And I do have a special guest in the studio today, David Hall from Anderson Seed and Garden.
Good morning.
So glad you could be here.
Yes, very glad to be here.
So we thought that just in case the phone lines didn't work, we better have someone to speak with other than Bill.
Definitely.
As awesome as you are to visit with Bill sometimes.
I know.
You always have questions from your wife, though, so that's very helpful.
My wife is sleeping, and she had no questions.
No questions today? All right. Well, we are so glad to have you here running the board, so thank you so much for being here. A lot of things happening at Anderson Seed and Garden this weekend. We have some bloomed out perennials that we put on sale, and I believe they are $3, David?
$3 a piece, and we're adding more every day.
All right. And they still look great. They're just done blooming.
Just done blooming for the season, so they may look a little sad, but they'll be bright and happy next spring.
They'll be looking great. We've got annuals left still. They're half price on all of our annuals, or even better.
half price on just about all of the annuals at the moment.
Nice. And that includes some of our vegetables too, doesn't it?
Yes, we've got some 4-inch cups left, but lots and lots of 2-inch vegetables, zucchini, summer squash, winter squash.
Just in case. And those zucchinis, mine produced in less than 40 days. And it's not, you picked one the other day too.
We did. And we've got a community garden going that we picked a handful just last week.
That is pretty fast. Even, like I said, with the up and down weather, it's been a little bit difficult to anticipate what's going on. But we did. We picked some zucchinis, and I did a little stir fry with the zucchinis and some onions. I had some onions that blew over in the wind the other night. And so the wind was so hard, it blew some of my onions over. So I decided to thin a few out.
Find a tasty treat.
They were absolutely delicious. It's much better than just letting them just sit there. So we decided to do that. Fruit trees are on sale. They are 30% off right now. So we have a good selection of fruit trees. I've got a few more that we'll be bringing in probably this week as well too. So a few more nectarines, a few more peaches. I think we've got a good selection of apples. Are there any apricots left out there?
There should be just a couple.
I had a couple apricots left. There are plums and cherries.
Lots
seems
of cherries.
Like. Yeah, it seems like we got lots of cherries, and the cherries are coming on right now too.
They are. They're starting to ripen.
Lots and lots of cherries at my house. The birds are having a heyday. We picked a few on the 4th, and they just weren't quite ready. They were just really, really close. So probably this weekend, the cherries will be ready to go. So fruit trees, 30% off at Anderson's right now. We do have a good selection of roses, but we have sold a lot of roses this year. 25% off on our remaining roses. And so some good deals there as well too. And this week we just got some new perennials in as well too. Stuff that's all in bloom, looks great. What did we get? We got like 4 racks.
We did get quite a bit. Yeah. We've got black-eyed Susans starting to pop. They're starting to break their buds. We've got some echinacea that came in.
Nice.
Some gorgeous lavender.
Yeah. The lavender was pretty.
Oh,
I saw that. It looked really good. And my lavender at home, the bees are all over it. And some of our sage is blooming right now too. And the bees are just like...
right on top.
Yeah, and they're in the linden trees right now as well too. So, if you would like to call in and join us, we've got looks like a caller on the line right now. But if you want to call in as soon as we're done with this caller, 753-5868-753-KVNU. We would love to have you join us here on the Garden Guide. The first phone call's in the new studio. There we go. Good morning. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
Good morning. I have rose bushes in the front of my house, and not all of the buds, but a couple of them have just very teeny tiny ones, and suddenly they're fossilized.
Like they're not opening up?
They're not opening up, and they look like they're a rock fossil almost. They're very fragile, but they look just like you'd think a fossil would look.
There you go.
They're dead.
There are some insects that get into the roses that are called thrip. And the thrip love red roses and especially white and yellow roses. So those are like their favorites, and they will get into the flower bud and they will drain it of strength. So they'll pull the sap out of it, and they'll make the flower buds ball up so they don't open, and they will start to deteriorate before they open up. So they'll start to like dry.
Like vampires.
Yeah, a little bit. The other possibility is there's a disease that's called botrytis, and the botrytis will do the same thing with the rose buds, and they'll just dry up. But you'll usually see a little bit of a gray or a brown mold on the roses as well too, like on the flowers themselves. It would probably not hurt to try and treat both, which you should be able to do. We have a really cool product at Anderson's that is called Insect Disease and Mite Control, and it controls both of those problems. It has a systemic insecticide in there as well as a fungicide that will work on the botrytis. So the botrytis we see in strawberries, we see it in roses. It will get into a lot of different plants, and you start to see a little brown or little gray mold, sometimes on the stems, but sometimes on the flowers as well too. And it will deteriorate those buds and the fruit, especially on like the raspberries and the strawberries. So, and the weather has been perfect for it.
Oh, great.
So we see a lot of that. But the insect disease and mite control will take care of thrip if it's thrips, because they're inside the buds. You can't spray a regular insecticide on them and kill them. They're inside. And so so you got to use a systemic, and then it has a systemic fungicide in it as well that should take care of it. With the way the weather's been, where we've had some cold nights and warm days and lots of fluctuations up and down, a lot of humidity, we're seeing a lot of different diseases right now.
Hey, would it also kill the roses after they started blooming? I've got like one out here that's just, it's just halfway through blooming, and all of a sudden it's
just
dead as a
deteriorate. It would. So I don't know. Seems like
I
we've
did
seen
get ladybugs, but I guess they don't take care of thrips.
Ladybugs love aphids, but they won't eat the thrips. But lacewings will actually eat the thrips as well too. So lacewings are quite beneficial.
Thank you very much. I will get on this.
You are so welcome. Good luck. If if you want to bring a sample in, we can take a look at it. We can tell you for sure. But it sounds like it's one of those two problems.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Super. You're so welcome.
Have a good week.
Oh, we sure will. Thank you so much for calling. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. And that does remind me, we do have the roses 25% off.
We sure do.
There's some really pretty ones out there still. So not too bad at all. We've seen all kinds of samples of different stuff lately.
A lot this year. I think all that extra moisture this spring has brought a lot of problems.
Lots of diseases. We've seen diseases in turf, lots of turf diseases, a lot of dollar spot and summer patch for sure. And they're continuing a little bit longer this year, even though it's turned warmer and dry. We've got some cold weather that has just allowed it to continue as well too. And I don't know, just seems like a little bit of everything has been showing up. Everybody's been bringing samples. We've seen leaf miners lately. We've seen, of course, lots of grasshopper damage.
Lots of grasshoppers.
Got another phone call, Bill?
We do.
All right, wonderful. And this is, do we know? Good morning. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I have a question. I've seen some insects in my garden recently, this spring and into the summer. They're kind of an orangish red colored. Initially, I thought they were box elder bugs.
Yes.
But are you familiar with those? I'm not familiar with what they are.
I have seen them in my very own garden, and they do kind of look like box elder bugs. And we've seen a ton of elm seed beetles popping up lately. So we had somebody who brought a video in of their backyard, and they had a hose coiled up next to their house, and there were little elm seed beetles just running all over it. It was crazy. I'd never seen quite that many, and a whole bunch of people coming in with the same problem. The one that you are referring to isn't an elm seed beetle, but it looks like it's a brighter red, right? It's kind of almost a really vibrant orangey red, and with like little black spots on there.
Yeah.
Yep. I saw one actually in my garden last night, and I believe it is called an assassin bug. Have you seen those yet, David?
Yep, we've seen a couple of assassin bugs as well as the fire beetles.
Yeah. So a little bit of both of those. As far as I can tell, they are not damaging the plants. There are specific things that they go after. However, they are a nuisance. And so,
okay, that was my question. I'd never seen them before, and I didn't know if they were going to destroy the garden or what was going on.
No. It's like the box elder bugs go after the seeds off of the box elder trees, and the elm seed beetles go after the seeds on the elm trees. These guys are not going after your plants. They're looking for other things, but they can be problematic. So whatever you're using for grasshoppers right now should take care of those as well too. 7 or Sayonara or the bifenthrin, like the bug blaster, would be great, and they'll do a really good job. Fortunately, I haven't seen these in mass, like tons and tons of them, just a few like here and there. It's
same.
Yeah, it's the elm seed beetles that we're seeing, just thousands of them showing up, and the box elder bugs have been kind of bad as well too, but they don't do as much damage, but they sure can be a nuisance.
Okay, that sounds great. I appreciate it. Thank you
right.
very much.
You are welcome. Thanks so much for calling this morning. Have a wonderful weekend.
You as well.
All right, thank you. All right, we've got phone line open, 753-522-4700. 5868-753-KVNU if you would like to call in with questions or comments. We haven't been able to take calls for like the last 2 or 3 weeks, so I'm sure there's a couple.
Alexander Graham Bell has reinvented the telephone. So.
A couple questions might be lingering out there. You're welcome to call in. It's Mark Anderson with Anderson Seed and Garden, and my special guest today is David Hall, also from Anderson's, and we're just having a conversation about all kinds of stuff that people are bringing in, asking questions about lately. What have you seen recently, David, that's like standing out that multiple people are coming in and having problems with?
We are seeing lots of fungal diseases early in the season, but we're seeing lots of powdery mildew. Already.
Yeah. My neighbor down the street's got a little bit on his his red maple, his Crimson King maples like crazy. But I've seen a bunch on apples.
Have you?
Also, yeah. So we're seeing a bunch on apple trees. So kind of keep an eye on that. And it sounds like our next application for fruit tree spray for codling moth is the 15th through the 20th of this month.
Right around the corner.
So it's getting close. Yeah, it's getting close. So you can take a break right now because we're probably in between hatches. We're really close to finishing up that first flight, and the second flight is just about ready to start. So today is the 6th. So we're only 10 days away. So probably not next weekend, but right after next weekend, it'll be time to do your second to start your second. Your second application, or it could be fourth application, depending on which one you're using, for codling moth in your apples and your pears. And it's a second flight of codling moth that are starting up too. So lots of powdery mildew. What else?
I've also lots of different fungal diseases. We've seen anthracnose in your maples as well.
Yeah.
Lots of that.
So the anthracnose gets in maples, oaks, and sycamores. So those are the ones that we've seen the most of, but especially the Rocky Mountain maples.
Yep.
So usually Rocky Mountain maples, the big tooth maples, are quite susceptible to it. So we've seen a lot of that. And there are some really good systemic fungicides that work on it. So the F-Stop is awesome.
F-Stop, liquid systemic fungicide.
Yeah, and Garden Phos. Yeah, and the Garden Phos too, to try and stop it from spreading. But the best way to prevent that is to get it before it starts. So usually in May, when we're seeing all those brand new leaves come out, they look so green and lush and beautiful. That's when we want to try and prevent diseases like the powdery mildew, of course, but the anthracnose and aspen leaf spot. Been seeing some aspen leaf spot brought in as well too. So lots of that, and usually has iron chlorosis as well too on those samples.
Wet spring.
Really wet spring. So not only are we seeing fungal diseases, but we're seeing the iron deficiency in a lot of those plants as well too. And when they're iron deficient, they're more susceptible to wind and sunburn, but they're also more susceptible to all kinds of diseases as well. So that's something to be aware of. Try and put on your calendar next year. If you don't have a calendar, old-fashioned calendars. We still do those at Anderson's, surprisingly, and people still come in and use them. And we give out about 2,500 calendars, but it has timing on there of when to spray to prevent a lot of this stuff. So we'll say, hey, now's the time to spray to prevent, anthracnose or to prevent aspen leaf spot. And it's usually right around the middle of May to try and do that. So not too bad. Anything else that's been popping up? We have. I get back to the store after the holiday and there's like 15 samples sitting on my desk.
Yep, and we've seen lots of bugs as well. Grasshoppers are already out and about, but we have seen a ton of aphids.
Aphids, yeah. Did we get our ladybugs back in?
No ladybugs yet.
Okay, I ordered ladybugs again. We should have got ladybugs in yesterday, and lacewings as well too. But maybe with the holiday they decided not to send them. So I don't like them sitting around just in case they don't get delivered. But ladybug's great for aphids, and they do a really, really good job on cleaning those aphids up. We've seen a lot of ladybug larvae.
We have.
Yeah, that people think are bad insects.
They look a little funny, but
they're really cool looking. I think they look like little black and orange alligators.
They do.
Yeah, but they have extra legs. They have seems like they have 6 legs on the sides. They're a little bit elongated, so they have kind of a longer tail, and have some great big kind of pincer-looking claws in the front. So they are quite aggressive looking.
They're good at getting those aphids.
So a standard ladybug will eat 50 aphids a day. but the ladybug larva can eat up to 100 a day. So they are ravenous, and all it takes is a few of those on a tree or a shrub or a rose bush, and they will clear all the aphids out. We should be getting some lacewings in with our ladybugs as well too, and the lacewings will eat other insects as well too. So they'll eat thrips. Sometimes they'll eat leafhoppers. They'll eat aphids. Sometimes they'll eat spider mites as well too. So they have a wider palette of critters that they will consume, and they'll do a pretty good job on those as well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How about fungus gnats? Because we, in our indoor plants, we have some fungus gnats, and they're kind of a pest because they'll even join you in the shower and fly around in your face and stuff. They're not afraid of water.
It seems like they are on patio plants as well too. So people are growing things on their deck and on their patio, on their driveway, and the fungus gnats love decomposing organic matter. And so potting soil usually
that's where they lay their eggs.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
The potting soil usually has some sort of bark, or it has some sort of compost. They'll call it leaf mold sometimes, that is decomposing, and that's where all those fungus gnats like to rest. We have some good controls for those.
We do. Really easy to just mix up and water your plants with either spinosad soap or the indoor-outdoor permethrin. Anything like that will take care of the larvae and the eggs down in the soil. And then we've got some sticky traps for the adults too. Yeah,
the sticky traps work really well. It seems like the sticky traps by themselves don't quite cut it.
Not quite cut it.
Yeah. But the insecticide, the spinosad soap, does a great job, and that's one you can just water the plant with, even though you get it on the plant as well too, and that's an organic option. And I do like the permethrin. That's always really good. We do have some of the mosquito bits too.
We do,
and those work great for the fungus gnats also, because they'll kill the larva.
They do. Just a little granule you can sprinkle right in the pots, and it goes right to work as soon as you start watering your plants.
I think we've got some of the little packets, and then we have some of the bigger containers as well too. And they're for mosquitoes, and so people are like, "That's for mosquitoes." No, it works on. It works on the fungus gnats as well too. So
for other pests other than mosquitoes.
So those are really simple and easy to do, because you just kind of sprinkle them out, just like shaking your bacon bits on on something you're going to consume. But you just sprinkle it into your plants, and then every time you water it, it releases a little bit of an insecticide that actually kills the larva of the fungus gnat. So it won't kill the adults, but they'll eventually all die off anyway, because their lifespan's really short.
Yeah.
But it's the babies we want to stop, because you can kill off the adults, but if you don't kill the larva, then they'll just be right back in 3 or 4 days. So it doesn't take very long for those to come back. So our phone lines are open, 753-5868, 753-KVNU, if you'd like to call in and join our conversation. We're just talking about insects. We're talking about all kinds of bugs that are pestering people right now, and a lot of diseases showing up as well too. So a lot of good things for us to talk about. And of course at Anderson's, We've got bloomed out perennials that are on sale, and they are $3 each, and there's a lot of really good ones to choose from. How many do you think we've got on those racks out there?
We've probably got 50, 75 at any given time, but we are adding more almost every single day.
All the time as they start to finish blooming. And of course, the foliage still looks good, but we just want them to find a home, because when they finish blooming, then people don't realize what they are. You don't see the flowers on them, and we just want them to find a nice home for the summertime. And so $3 on a lot of those bloomed out perennials, and they range in price normally from about $8 to $16. So there's some really good deals in there. All of our annuals are on sale. They are 50% off, and some are even a little bit better priced. Fruit trees 30% off, roses 25% off, and we just got a new shipment of gorgeous perennials that just came in, and they're looking really good. And we do have some more shrubs coming this week as well too. So I've got another truckload of some shrubs for the summertime, and so it's a good time to get outside and do a little bit of planting. We did get some hydrangeas in the other day. Yeah, some that people have been looking for.
Yep, we've got the coveted Invincibelle Wee White hydrangea, as well as the Incrediball.
Yeah, and everybody's been asking for those. We haven't been able to get them until, we had some early, but then once we sold out of those, we couldn't find any more. So nice to get some extra plants in. So Call in with those questions or comments. We are just about to the bottom of the hour, and so we will look forward to hearing from a few more callers after we take just a little bit of a break. But we're here. It's the Garden Guide. Bill's running our lovely new board. Thank you for being here this morning, Bill.
Running it and also just sitting here scratching my head trying to, okay, what does this do? Does this work?
But we did get 2 callers already.
Did.
Yeah, we got 2 callers this morning, so that is definitely a bonus. The weather is starting to warm up again, and hopefully your gardens are starting to produce. We harvested a couple tomatoes this week. We harvested some zucchinis. We've been eating kohlrabi. We had lettuce. We had onions. Our garden is really starting to produce, and so it's being very productive. And our flowers are taking off like crazy finally. It's about time. It's nice to see the flowers blooming. So we're going to take a short break here at the bottom of the hour, but we'll be back. Mark Anderson with Anderson Seed and Garden, David Hall from Anderson Seed and Garden, and Bill from Cache Valley Media Group will be here to answer your questions, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Walter, KVNU News. Deputies made an arrest in relation to a suspicious package that forced the evacuation of the Matheson Courthouse in downtown Salt Lake City. 55-year-old Eric Lynn Bentram was taken into custody on drug-related charges. According to court records, deputies with the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office were notified about the suspicious package Tuesday afternoon. The package was found on the north side of the courthouse complex. Deputies determined Bentram was the person who left the package. Members of the Salt Lake Police Bomb Squad were called to the scene to investigate. The courthouse was evacuated along with the Washington Federal Building. Officers closed down 400 South while Bomb Squad members worked. They searched a bag. When they found Bentram, they could detect the smell of marijuana from a black bag on his bicycle. Officials said they found just under 6 pounds of marijuana and 5 THC cartridges. After hours of searching, the body of a 29-year-old woman who drowned was recovered from Little Dell Reservoir Tuesday night. The woman was later identified as Haley Mason of Salt Lake City. Salt Lake County Sheriff Rosie Rivera said witnesses reported seeing a person on a kayak asking for help at around 2 p.m. at Little Dell Reservoir. The kayaker was reportedly alone on the water. Officials stated in a release, despite attempts to swim out and assist her, she went under the water and did not resurface. Search and rescue teams from both Wasatch County and Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office had responded. Sunny and hot during the day, upper 80s to low 90s, lows in the mid-50s at night. You can always get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
Attention sports fans, you'll definitely want to be to this event. The Ultimate Sports Bash is coming July 12th and 13th to the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Meet sports stars like Cam Rising, Brian Russell, Greg Ostertag, Nick Raimondo, and Jaron Hall. Check social media at Ultimate Sports Bash for all newly added athletes coming to the bash. Get your tickets and reserve your photo ops and autograph sessions now at UltimateSportsBash.com. That's UltimateSportsBash.com.
From gardening to landscaping, it's the Garden Guide on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
All right, we are back here at the Garden Guide. Mark Anderson and David Hall with Anderson Seed and Garden. We're answering your questions. We're talking gardens. We're talking flowers. We're talking bugs. And we're talking trees, a little bit of everything. So if you've got questions or comments, you're welcome to call in and visit with us here on the Garden Guide. Phone lines, I think we've got someone on the line right now ready to join us. But otherwise, if you'd like to call in, 753-5868, 753 KVNU.
And if we don't pick up right away, please call back once the caller that we have on the air is done.
Very good, very good. And We've been talking about some sales going on at Anderson's. We've got the Cruise In going this weekend. Parade is tonight at 6:30. If you don't have your chairs set up, you're probably out of luck because there's chairs all the way up and down Main Street already.
Standing room only.
It's kind of fun. I had the parade go past our house yesterday because they did the run up to Bear Lake. And so we had a lineup of cars that drove by.
That would be sweet.
There were some good-looking cars and trucks in there. There was this red short bed Ford that I would have taken in a second. That was very, very nice.
So you really get your lawn chair out in the front yard and you just kind of
I was cutting up some branches and putting them into our green waste recycler, and all of a sudden all these beautiful cars start going by. It's like, oh, that's right, they're probably going up to Bear Lake. So I took my time cutting them up and putting them into the dumpster, so it didn't look like I was just standing out there watching the cars go by. But it was kind of fun. So Cruise In tonight. Sidewalk sale. The Logan Downtown Sidewalk Sale is next weekend, so that's next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so don't forget about the Sidewalk Sale.
And a Gallery Walk next week.
Yeah, Gallery Walk next week also, yeah, so all kinds of things going on. And then the week after that, we've got our Mad Money Sale at Anderson Seed and Garden. I think that goes the 15th through the 20th, and that's when you can come in and use your Mad Money that you've been accumulating all year at Anderson Seed and Garden. So on your receipt, it'll print on there how much Mad Money you've got accumulated. But as we get closer to the sale, you can come in and we'll look it up and tell you how many points you've got to use. But for every $10 you've been spending at the store at Anderson Seed and Garden, we give you $1 back in Mad Money on your account to come and use during our special sales. And the Mad Money sale, like I said, goes the 15th of July through the 20th of July, and you can use your Mad Money up to half of your purchase price. And so if it is a $20 item and you have $10 worth of Mad Money, you can spend $10 of Mad Money and $10 of your own money and get it basically for half price. So it's a really great deal. So for those of you that have accumulated quite a bit of Mad Money, you can come in and spend that and use it for up to half of your purchase price on anything in the store, including stuff that's on sale. So it's a really good deal. We've had people asking about
We have.
Mad Money
Everyone's
already.
getting excited.
Yeah,
and they do stack up with all the sales we've got going on. You can come in, find a really great price.
Yeah. So if it's already half price and then you spend your Mad Money on it, you get another half price. So you basically get it for 75% off. Yeah.
Yep.
So some really, really, really good deals. So at the store, fruit trees on sale, 30% off. Roses, 25% off. So we've got some really great plants that are on sale. Bloomed out perennials are up to $3 for all those bloomed out perennials, and our annuals are half price as well too. So we've got some really good deals going on if you want to plant a few things outside in your garden while it's still cool, because it looks like it's going to get hot next week. And some brand new perennials just came in this weekend. Some beautiful looking plants and some things that are in bloom looking really good.
They're looking great, and they're already 25% off.
Ooh, that's right. So we've got the regular perennials are 25% off too. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot. We do have a caller.
Yeah, I didn't catch the name. I was trying to talk to him, but was competing with a commercial that was overwriting it.
I think it's Dick. Dick, how are you this morning?
Hey, fine. Got a question. A year ago when flowers were blooming, just beautiful, and then like a week, 2 weeks later, the blooms were all gone.
Yes.
What do I need to do this year to not to lose the beautiful flowers?
Tobacco budworms. They love the petunias and they love geraniums, and they will just eat the flowers and prevent them from continuing to bloom. And so there's some good insecticides to try and prevent those. And there's some that are really, really safe. Some of the organic options are wonderful. Spinosad works great. So the Spinosad or the Spinosad soap. 7 works well also. Bug Blaster. Those would all do a great job. And we have started spraying our plants already, Dick, to try and prevent those.
Yep, we are already seeing samples in.
Yeah. People are already seeing the adults, and we know that they're going to show up here anytime soon. So I would spray every other week for right now to try and prevent those.
Can you spray rather than water the plant?
Yes. Yeah. So we mix it up in a pump sprayer. You can use a trigger sprayer. You could use a hose end sprayer if you want. You've got a big area to cover, but any of those insecticides will do a really great job. So if you want to stick with an organic one, I would say spinosad or spinosad soap. If you want something with a little quicker knockdown, permethrin, Bug Blaster, 7, Sayonara, any of those would be excellent.
Wonderful.
All right. Good luck. Spray in the evening when it's not so hot, and then your bees have gone home for the night, and most of the flowers have closed up. So I try and spray about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night when it's really kind of, it's not dark out yet, but it's kind of, sun's down and it's getting there. The bees will have all gone home at that point, and so you're less likely to damage your bees. And the adult moths that come and lay the eggs that turn into the worms that nibble on your flowers, they'll be out and about in those evening hours. So it's a really good time to go ahead and spray.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling this morning, Dick. You have a wonderful weekend.
Same to you, folks.
All right. Okay, our phone lines are open if you'd like to call in and join us here on the Garden Guide, 753-5868, 753-KVNU. And what's our 800 number again?
1-800. I don't know if do we still use it.
1-800-369-5868. There you go. I've said it so many times it's like burned into my memory. Go. 369-5868. Yeah. There we go. All right. So you are welcome to call in, but it sounds like somebody else has beaten you to it. So good morning and welcome to the Garden Guide.
Yes. I put some rhubarb starts in 5-gallon buckets, and curious what I need to do to make sure they take off and do well.
Good. Great question. The rhubarb is pretty resilient. It's very tough. Have you done rhubarb before, David?
I have not.
You've never done rhubarb? Rhubarb. So when my wife and I built our house, there was a rhubarb in the pasture where we built our house, and we were going to try and put our driveway in there. So we dug it up and moved it to a different location, and we started to kind of prep that area for the driveway, and the rhubarb came back. And so it came up in the gravel that we were starting to put down some road base to put the driveway in. And then we weren't able to like put that parking pad in that one spot for another year. And so we dug it up and moved it to another location, and it came back again. And the only way we could get it to stop coming up was to put concrete over the top of it. So once you get those established, they go like crazy. So in 5-gallon pots, it's probably a little bit hot to plant right now, but you could definitely transplant them anytime from now until the ground freezes in November, and try and get that established, and then you should be able to harvest it next spring as well too. So they like a lot of organic matter, and so it's one of those plants that we will definitely recommend when you dig a hole, dig it extra large, and then add in some really well composted manure or a compost of some sort. They like a lot of that organic matter in there, so you could mix that at least 50-50 in with your existing soil that you take out of the hole. They do like a little bit of shade, so they want to be sunny for most of the day, but a little bit of shade is just fine. So if they're getting maybe 6 or 8 hours of sunlight a day and then shade the rest, that would be sensational for those. That would work out really well. And a nice slow release fertilizer that's just going to feed them a little bit throughout the season. So that would work out great. And then they don't like to be too wet, but they do like to drain out properly. So good drainage. That's why the extra big hole really helps as well too. So you could transplant anytime from now until November.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you.
You're so welcome. Good luck. Do you know what kind of rhubarb it is?
It's what the neighbor had left over.
Hey, that works out great. If you brought a sample in when it really starts to color up next spring, I might be able to identify it for you. So you're welcome to bring that in. I would suspect it's probably a Canada Red because that's the most common, but there are a couple other varieties, and it's not as easy for me to identify as like apples or peaches or anything, but we can sure give it a shot.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. You have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for calling this morning.
All right. Bye-bye.
We'll see you. All right. Phone line is open, 753-KVNU, 753-5868. And we'd be happy to take your questions and receive your call here at the Garden Guide. So what else is going on at the store right now, David? It seems like we've got all kinds of people coming in with tons of questions. Like 9 out of 10 people coming in have grasshoppers.
All the time. Every third customer, definitely grasshoppers.
At least every third customer.
Yep.
Yeah. And while we're standing there helping one customer answer their grasshopper questions, 5 more come and stand around and listen.
Got them peeking over your shoulder.
Now, I'm gonna eavesdrop because you're talking about exactly what I want to hear about. So it's pretty funny. But we try and give you the best information possible for grasshoppers. So I put my repellent out about 3 weeks ago, and it's time to put another repellent out.
It is.
So, and I did have to spray because they were just massacring my beans. They were just nibbling my beans down to nothing, and they have almost completely all come back, my beans, but now my giant pumpkins are eating them.
Very good.
They're taking them over. So
big.
Yeah, it's taking them over. So if you're going to spray for grasshoppers in your vegetable garden, there are some safe options. We have 7, which is safe to use in your vegetables and fruits, up to usually about 24 to 48 hours, I think, on the label for most vegetables. You can spray up to 24 hours before you harvest, and then rinse your product, your produce off, and you'll be able to consume that. So the 7's very safe. And the Sayonara we should have back in stock by next week. So I have my fingers crossed. The Sayonara the same way, very safe for fruits and vegetables, very effective on the grasshoppers. And then for around the yard on turf and on trees and shrubs and flowers, you can use Bug Blaster, and the Bug Blaster is sensational. That's what I used around my vegetable garden, and so I sprayed in front of the barn and around the barn and by the shed and all the way around the vegetable garden, and it's safe to use on flowers, and you can use it on your lawn, and it will kill those grasshoppers very, very quickly. And I did that all the way around my garden, and it really cut my grasshoppers down from thousands to about tens. And so there were still a few in there, and then the repellent has kept them away up to this point. But last night I saw more than a handful hopping around in the garden. So
they're starting to get big.
It's time to do it all over again, yeah, and start up with that. Looks like we've got another caller, Bill.
Yes, we do.
All right. Good morning, and welcome to the Garden Guide.
Thank you. Hey, excuse me. I did not spray any herbicide this year. I mean, and weed-free zone's my favorite, and
yes.
I did get Cazaron on, but Cazaron does not have the ability to volatilize, does it?
It does not. It does not. So
I didn't think so.
It will stay right where you put it. I did my mom's roses this year because I knew I just wouldn't have time to get in there and weed them, and they are like completely weed-free. It's done.
Well, I used
job.
them in my raspberries because it's God's gift to those of us raising raspberries.
Yes, it is.
And it worked great, but I have 2 patches, and my other patch that's closer to the main road has got damage, herbicide damage. And I did not spray a thing because the weather has been so mercurial, and where I'm at, I haven't had like 5 days of lower than 85 or, lower than 90. And so my yard's a mess, because I haven't been able to spray anything, but I have got herbicide damage on my raspberries. So is there anything that you can do? There isn't, is there?
Usually we'll
save?
Yeah, usually we'll say just trim off the parts that have been curled up, because usually it'll curl the leaves up.
Exactly.
And then trim that off, and then a little bit of fertilizer to encourage some new growth. And if your new growth comes out and then it looks fine, then your plants are good. If you wanted to bring a sample in so we could take a look at it, I would be happy to inspect it and see. It could be herbicide damage. It could be, we are seeing some viral diseases that can curl them up well too. So curly,
oh, really?
Yeah, we're starting to see some curly top on tomatoes and things. So it wouldn't hurt to bring a sample in, because the raspberries are susceptible to some of those things.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it anywhere else in my garden, and they're fairly close to my tomatoes, and everything else looks great.
Yeah.
It almost started out like if they were borers in them, but it's too early, and so
we've had borer damage. Yeah, we've seen borers in. Yeah, so last week we saw raspberry cane borer, and it's that time of year where they're starting to show up. So.
Well, I'm in Franklin, and I'm usually 2 weeks at least behind you guys.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, but anything's possible this year.
We do have a new insecticide for the raspberry cane borer, and you can use it up to 7 days before you harvest. And it is systemic, so it'll actually kill them inside the canes. And so you drench the raspberries with it like you would a tree for like aphids. But you can drench the raspberries, and it'll kill the raspberry cane borer inside the raspberries. It's been very effective this year.
Okay, what's that called?
Do you remember what it's called, David? It is like,
I believe it's just called a fruit drench.
A fruit drench. It's from Monterey.
Fruit drench.
Yeah, and it's a brand new product we brought in specifically for the raspberries because it has it on the label, and we've always been looking for a good product for raspberry cane borer because they're so difficult to control. And it's a drench just like the tree and shrub drench from Fertilome, but it's a lower active ingredient, and you can mix it up and put it on your raspberries up to, like I said, 7 days before you harvest.
Okay, now mine are already coming on. So would it still work if I just waited until my raspberries were done?
Do you think they're going to be? Do you think you're going to be picking them in a week?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they've already started.
Okay.
I just don't know where to go.
You would want to wait until after you're done picking. Are they June bearing or are they ever bearing?
They're June bearing.
They're June bearing. So after you're done picking, we could put it on there. But then next spring, probably about the first or middle part of May, you'd want to put that on, and then it lasts inside the canes for about a month, and so it will control the raspberry cane borer before they do any damage.
Well, would it even be worthwhile to do it afterwards? Would it have enough time for it to go through the system after I've done my raspberries?
Usually after you're done picking, they have emerged as adults. And
they're already done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how helpful that will be, but we could double check.
Well, I will definitely have that. But is there anything that I can do in my lawn? I usually use weed-free zone, and I usually use, anything like a Killzall to just go along the borders of the grass next to my, and I'm too scared to use anything at this point, especially with next week's
when it's really hot. So on the 4th, I got out my handy-dandy pump sprayer because I needed to spray some puncture vine and some morning glory that had gotten a little bit out of control in a couple of areas. And I used Decimate. And the Decimate is much less likely to volatilize and drift. And so I was able to spray around my magnolia tree, which has some leaves that are like really low to the ground on it. And I was very careful in there, and it didn't bother my magnolia, but my morning glory is dead already. So it takes 2 days and it kills it. So the Decimate would be excellent for any weeds or grasses right now, and it's much less volatile than, like, say, Killzall or Roundup. If your daytime temperatures are below 90 degrees, like they are going to be today, you could use weed-free zone. It's when it gets above 90, you gotta be careful.
Yes, yeah, and it seems like it always gets right to 89 and 90, right at the hottest point of the day. I'm like, gosh, dang it!
If you sprayed to like today, since it is going to be cooler today, and then watered tomorrow, and even if it gets into the 90s tomorrow, after you water it, it's off the blades of grass, and it will be less likely to be a problem. And so I think
that's what I wanted to know. Like, how long do I have to worry about? Because the label says like 5 days.
Yeah, I think right now, if you could spray, because it's going to be cooler today, and then water like first thing in the morning, you would be in great shape.
How late are you guys open today?
We are open until 6 today.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But
well, that's what I needed
if
to
you
know.
do come in late, just be aware that the parade starts at 6:30, and you will not be able to get across Main Street.
I'm totally aware, and I'm planning on going to that. I've been at the end of the second family reunion, so I'm not going to be able to probably spray today. That's the problem. Is this has been so busy this year that my garden is crying at me.
I know. I feel your pain. It's like there's so much stuff to do. There is.
But anyways, well, thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for calling this morning. Have a good one.
Okay, you have a nice day.
All right. Bye-bye. Yep. Cruise in tonight, 6:30 on Main Street. Usually we try and evacuate the store about
as quickly as
5:30, yeah, because you will not be able to get across Main Street once the parade starts. So, but some good sales going on at Anderson's this weekend. So we've got fruit trees are 30% off, roses 25% off, perennials that are in bloom 25% off,
and we have some new ones.
Yeah, some beautiful new stuff. Yeah,
and lots ready to pop.
So you said lavender and black-eyed Susan.
We've got some echinacea about ready.
Echinacea, nice. That's good.
We just got in some hardy hibiscus, the really big hibiscus blossoms.
We've kind of been waiting for those all year. They've been slow to come along this year, so maybe we'll have to plant some of those. And we've got some peonies.
We do 50% off.
Yeah, some really nice peonies as well too. Oh, we got time for another call.
Yes, we do.
Welcome to the Garden Guide. Thanks for calling this morning.
Good morning. How are we doing, guys?
Doing great. How are you?
I am good. Things are wonderful out here in Newton.
Wonderful.
Other than my son's big blue spruce next door looks like it might have bark beetles.
It's possible.
We lost a couple of our big trees at the park last year, and they just got it, and we had to cut them down. And I hadn't even noticed. I looked the other day and saw this. When we bought the house years ago, the trees were really in tough shape, and I topped this tree, and it grew back with like 3 spires where we topped it. And I looked in yesterday, and one of those is just as brown as can be, just crispy brown.
We have seen a lot of wind damage on a lot of trees this year that will cause one section to just kind of die out. So it may or may not be bark beetles. Sometimes it's just physical damage, and and so watch for holes in the trunk from the ground up to about 10 feet or so. You'll see holes where the beetles have done damage. But if you're not seeing any beetle damage, if you're not seeing holes, then it could be something just physical that has happened to it. So.
Okay, and we looked and said, I think we better get up there and just take it off.
What we have seen,
I didn't know if there's something preventative.
Yeah, what we have seen a lot of the last couple of years, especially where we had drought for 4 or 5 years in a row, we saw a lot of spruce and pines that were mining nutrient from the older growth to sustain the new growth. So out on the tips of the trees, the new growth looked great, but a lot of the interior growth was kind of just starting to fall off the trees and discolor. And not seeing as much of that. Now we've had 2 wet years in a row. That's really kind of helped. But a little bit of fertilizer, especially something with a lot of micronutrients in it, would be excellent to try and build some resilience on those trees. If it is bark beetles, then we would do a tree and shrub drench on it, and those drenches will last 8 to 10 months. And so you can do it once a year, and it will prevent any insect damage on the tree for the whole season, basically. And it works on aphids, it works on spruce gall, it works on leaf miners, it works on borer, it works on bark beetles. Bark beetles are tough to control, but this is about the only way to do it once they get into the trees and do some damage. But I would definitely do the fertilizer micronutrient combinations for them. And then...
Is the drench the same one that I use on my box elder tree?
Yep.
Okay,
exactly.
I've got about half of a container
exactly
of that
the same
left.
one. So, yeah, ounce per inch of trunk circumference.
Okay.
Is what it should be.
We'll go and put down what I still have left of that, just as a precautionary measure.
Unless you have the Dominion, and then the Dominion's like 1 ounce per 10 inches of circumference. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go out and look and see.
All right, yeah,
haven't seen it since early this spring when I used it.
Yeah, anything to build the strength of the tree up would be great. So boomerang or kangaroos would be awesome to try and get some fine root hairs going on that for trees that are a little struggling or stressed.
Okay.
All right. Iron combo chelate.
Well, it sounds good. I've got all of them out there sitting on the shelf. I'll go put them to work.
I figured you might, Gordon. I just figured you might. So, all right. How's the reservoir this year? Is the reservoir up?
It's still staying up. Yep, we were filled to the brim, and it's down, of course, because we're using it now, but not much. Nothing like the last few years. It's been wonderful to drive by there and see the water up, and even though it's been warm, it doesn't smell funny. So
yeah. Logan River is still roaring. Like there's still a lot of water coming out of Logan River. So there's some snowpack up there still melting. So we'll take
just
it.
A little bit of snow still along the ridge of the Wellsville. So it's been a good year for water.
It has. We'll take it. Hey, thanks for calling this morning, Gordon.
Okay. All right. Thanks. We'll see you.
We'll see you. You were saying something about the drench, David, or the nutrient.
Combo chelate, really great option for getting micros, especially for some of those bigger trees.
When we have customers come in and their trees are really, really struggling, we'll have them do the kangaroo roots or the boomerang to like get that root system going, and then mix the combo chelate in with it because it's got all the micronutrients as well as the nitrogen and the iron in there.
Yep, and both of those right down together.
Yeah, awesome way to go. So sounds like our show is just about over, Bill.
Yeah, Mr. Music has started up.
Well, thank you to all that have called in with questions or comments. We appreciate you calling in. At Anderson's, we've got the perennials on sale. We've got bloomed out perennials that are really on sale for $3. Fruit trees 30% off. Roses 25% off. Blooming perennials 25% off, and some new stuff coming this week as well too. And it sounds like cruise in tonight at 6:30. So we'll hopefully enjoy the parade. Are you going to go, Bill?
Yeah, I might.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to see what my wife has planned.
We'll see what
she
happens.
may have made plans
we'll
already.
see what happens. David, thank you for being on the show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It's always fun to have a guest, and it's wonderful to have you here. Thanks for correcting me on multiple occasions. So that's quite good. And thank you to all of you who have been listening. We'll be back next week with another edition of The Garden Guide.
610 AM and 102.1 FM.